teachers I know, they want to work. They just want to work in a safe environment and as safe as we can rationally make it, and we can do that, and we should be able to open up every school, kindergarten through 8th grade, if in fact we administer these tests.
Major obstacles could stand in the way of President Biden's promise to reopen schools for in-person nationwide for the next academic year, especially after Chicago teachers just voted to defy the school district's order to return to their classrooms for the resumption of in-person learning. They are citing safety concerns, arguing that the majority of them have not even been vaccinated against the coronavirus yet.
If you're trying to force us back into the building, give us a real plan. A schedule, a link to get tested, right? We need an actual, real plan, not something vague that says we'll start getting vaccinated in mid-February when you expect us in the building tomorrow.
Joining me now, Randi Weingarten, American Federation of Teachers president. Randi, thanks for being with me. You know, you and I are looking at the situation both as parents, as people talking about it, getting ready to debate the issues. Bottom line, did President Biden just promise something that he can't keep?
I think that President Biden's goal is really important. And I think that unless we have a variant like what happened in Great Britain or Germany that created those kind of lockdowns, you know, because of the transmissibility, I think we can actually make President Biden's goal real. I think what you just heard in the segment I heard right before I started speaking is fear. Mm-hmm. And what we're fighting is we're fighting a pandemic, and now we're fighting fear. And what we're trying to do as a union is get the safety measures in place. In Chicago, I'm on the phone constantly with Chicago, and trying to actually have that kind of plan so that we can address both the pandemic and the fear. And thank God, just like if you go into a Fox studio, you take a rapid test. When I went into the White House on Thursday, I took a rapid test where the point about the testing that the president said, and also the point about the vaccines have to be a piece of this.
So you've actually met with the president in person on this issue, yes or no?
Well, I have met with the president's staff.
Okay, you were at the White House. Okay.
At length.
What we do know, just Randi, and look, I'm just going to spit the facts here. What we do know is that even, you know, when you talk about Fox News, anywhere, rapid testing is not the end-all, be-all. You want people, if we could, get them to take those like really uncomfortable PCRs, but that's what you get when you go into surgery because they're the most accurate. Probably not going to get a lot of that. You mentioned the word fear. False evidence appearing real is what a pastor used to tell me, but there's a lot of evidence right now that he may have overpromised. Major obstacles standing in the way. Some of the things that those Chicago teachers cited were the fact not just that they hadn't been promised the vaccine in a timely fashion on a calendar date, but they've been promised new ventilation systems for their schools when some of them don't even have the basic HVAC needs. The HVAC ventilation already, you know, for an upcoming warmer month season like air conditioning. I mean, this is going to be tough.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. This is going to be really tough. And part of what's going on here is that the reason we are trying so hard, and I believe the reason the president is trying so hard, is because we know that in-school learning is really important. But the difference is,
of course,
and I know I'm going to get in real trouble by saying this. The same thing that we told this administration, we told the last one. Like last April, we put a plan out that was very similar to the CDC's about the guidance that we needed. And we begged the last president not to just do tweets, but to actually get us that guidance and those resources. So the first piece of those resources came together in December. But what I'm saying to you is that they are negotiating 24/7 now in Chicago to try to get things like the vaccine.
We are running up against the top of the hour, Randi Weingarten, with the American Federation of Teachers president. I want to bring you back. All parents want their kids in school. They learn better that way, but we got to be realistic about it. Want to have you back. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching the Faulkner Focus.